What is my opinion on Urable now offering their own credit card processor with a lower fee, integrated software, and making us move to it in January, or we cash it out through Square and then we just click other and mark it as paid. So it really doesn't change a heck of a lot. Let's backtrack for a second. I've been with Urable from the beginning. And when I support people through hard times and through easy times, because my network is my net worth, and people will remember me sticking around when others maybe didn't stick around. As far as some of the reactions that I'm seeing, I can see a bunch of children running businesses. If you do this, I'm leaving you. I want you to pause for a second and think, I took a step into profitability in my personal business and I doubled my prices, right? We've all been through this as detailers, and I doubled my price. And when I doubled my price, I lost 50% of my customers because they weren't true supporters. And I was okay with that, but I made the same amount of money. I'm not saying that this scenario correlates, but what I'm saying is looking at a person that knee-jerk reacts and says, I'll just no longer support you if you do that. Go for it. Go ahead and no longer support me, because it questions, were you a true supporter in the first place? Let's backtrack even further to when I first started with Urable and the growth and watching Urable implement things. They were one of the first to market with a phenomenal tool for detailers to grow their businesses. They never stopped adapting. They never stopped adding new features. They never stopped listening to our feedback and bringing it to a committee and going, can we make this happen? Upgrade after upgrade after upgrade. So much so that people complained that the updates were happening too often from Urable. So they reduced how often they launched their updates and put more in each update. Every single update filmed a video, have an entire YouTube collection of the things that they've changed so that we can watch it, unlike any of the apps out there. Michael himself went to bat for us with Carfax to no avail, but over and over again, beating his head against a wall, trying to get us recognized for different services instead of just the 4 options we had to list for Carfax. Michael doesn't need to do this. The Abbins family don't need to do this. Michael didn't need to create an app for some of the most picky people in the world. We're detailers for a reason, because we're picky. We're OCD, we want things a specific way. One of the hardest clienteles to cater to, and I know this because I'm a coach. I teach detail businesses, I train them. And I train the people within them. Some of the most complicated people to deal with, because on one side of the coin, they'll complain that a person asked them what price it is. On the other side of the coin, when buying something, they'll be the person that complains about price. They are projectionists. I am one of them. Urable has been through hardship with us. They have shown us that we are a team, that we will work together through things, and that they will take our feedback and they will implement what makes sense for the whole, because we can't have a specific app for each individual person. That's not possible. So from what I'm seeing, and I have seen some of my own friends in the comments section, if you've messaged me privately or personally, I respect that. I respect the hell out of that. What I don't respect is somebody jumping on a public post and belittling, berating, and beating up somebody I consider a friend. Urable and the Abbins family are important to me. Michael Abbins, Chris, and Grant were at my wedding. I support them because I trust them as people, and I will always support them unless they break that trust. As far as the money grab goes, this is just a money grab. Michael has been so transparent about the acquisition of Urable. We know that Urable was acquired by a company that processes credit card payments. I first saw this happening long ago. And when presented with the information, of we wanted more updates, more and more and more, and we need, want. That's all we've ever done for Urable is want more from them. And they've accommodated that as best as they possibly can, and there's been some things they had to compromise on with eliminating and adding certain features. One of them is credit card payments. They can't cater to all of the local businesses. They can't integrate with everybody. The amount of labor that would take is obnoxious, and the amount of confusion on the back end it would have, it's like, why are there so many options in here? So what's the smart solution? Keep in mind, there's a caveat here. I predict that there's going to be some feedback and there's going to be some roundtable. I don't know what that turns into, but I don't think as laid out and how people think it's going to be is how it's exactly going to be. But they answered the question of let's integrate this, let's lower fees, because that's why people are using these other sources. So they did that. I can get a custom percentage because I do more business than a lot of detail businesses. So I can get a lower rate. I get to save money. What am I mad at about that? I think that's Urable doing what's best for me and my business. Will it be painful? Yeah, there's probably some features that Square has that I like that they won't have initially. But if I've learned anything from Urable, I have learned that Michael and his team and his family will take the feedback as they launch this, and they'll continue to improve even the credit card processing side of it. And it will improve, I believe, even faster than anything we've ever seen because they have backing now. They have a larger company at work here. Some solutions that they may already have in place. So assuming this is a money grab, and just, oh, it's just a money grab, that is a small mind. That is a small mind that thinks that this is a money grab. I want you to go with me for one more little journey. Let's pretend you started a company that was like Urable. Let's pretend that you went through 5 years of the first 2 almost non-profitable. You gave your all, you gave your nights, you gave your weekends, because detailers don't understand that at the end of the day at 6 o'clock, it's not time to work anymore. And the argument was, some of us are still working and need to cash people out, so we need support. And Urable said, yeah, you're probably right. So they showed us support. They gave up their lives, they gave up their family time, and they gave of themselves to us for 5 years, working hard for us, constantly with the updates. I don't even know how Kyle does what he does. I could not write code. It's not my thing. Not only that, but the your stories, traveling all over the United States for free of charge, and filming your stories to help other detail businesses gain exposure, and themselves as well as a marketing campaign, but for free. The things they did for SEMA, the parties they contributed to, the money that they've donated. I can tell you personally that my family has been a recipient of some of that donation money at one point. I don't understand the knee-jerk reaction. Anybody that reacts knee-jerk like that, I think, is having a rough day, and I think they're going through some emotions, and I think they're bored. I think you need to use Urable a little bit better. I think you need to use the features within Urable so that you're not so bored. I didn't even know about this until I got a bunch of messages from everyone. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? You think it's just a money grab? So we go through this journey from the beginning of the company. Let's pretend again, you're the owner. You go through the hardship. You go through beratement on Facebook when people, oh, I don't like this feature, do this instead. I want you to add that. How come this does this? 5 years of it, beating yourself to death, just like a detailer does. Most detailers are owner-operators. They're beating it every day. They're working 12, 14, 15, 16-hour days, not seeing profitability, working themselves literally to death, and not providing themselves a future. No retirement, no savings, no emergency fund. One bad thing could take their company out. Urable builds a company, and they get to the point where there is a potential, and I know this isn't the reason why they made this switch, because I know the Evans family personally. But there's an opportunity to make additional money in your business by taking one of the largest apps in processing credit cards and bringing the credit card in-house to lower the fees for your people, but in turn creating more profitability for the company. I don't know why that's a problem. And I think anybody that knee-jerk reacts that it's a problem that Urable may be more profitable needs to really do some self-searching and needs to really think about what they're saying out loud. Because I would support you being more profitable, and Urable would support us being more profitable. In fact, even in this move, that's what they're doing, to lower our fees and create custom rates for some of the bigger players like myself. So for you to be mad that a for-profit company is moving towards making profit, I don't know. It's a special kind of stupid to me. And I mean that in all love. I think at the end of the day, we need to take a step back and look at the relationship that every one of us have had with Urable. We need to scroll through the community group that's on Facebook and look at all the features that have been pitched. Look at all the updates, update after update after update, countless hours. I loved seeing Chris transform in her updates. She used to say all the time. She barely says it anymore. She's become a public speaker simply because of the updates that she does for Urable. But at the end of the day, I think we need to look at all that and think to ourselves, sure, I can voice my opinion on this, I can give my feedback, but do I have to be an asshole? No. And if I am an asshole, am I the target client for Urable anymore? And that's a sobering thought to think, maybe they don't want your business anymore. And I'm not saying that that's the case. This is my opinion. But maybe, if this is the right move for Urable, your knee-jerk reaction and acting like a child is not the target client for them anymore. Maybe they've created sustainability with respectful business owners. And maybe there's enough people in the industry now that respect the need for an app, because when I signed on, I can tell you, people were still using pen and paper, and they were telling me that I was stupid for signing on. It's $100 a month. I can't believe that. That's ridiculous. I'd never pay that. And now, look at how many different apps there are for running detail businesses. Long and short of this, no matter what you believe their intention is, we have no historical data to look at Urable and go, this was a money grab, or this was to hurt me, because all of the historical data shows that it was only to help us. And that's all they've ever tried to do. So I would highly encourage dialogue, talk, use the blue chat button, use the chat bubble, talk to the company, and build your network by working through what you see as a hardship together with your network, just like you'd do with any other relationship. And if you're so quick to say, if you change this one thing, I'm leaving you, I think you need to look in the mirror. What's wrong? Why are you so stressed out? Why is it so easy to walk away from a relationship? Do you have commitment issues? Is that what it is? Because the move from Urable for me is going to be harder than the move to another processor. The move from Urable would be purely bitterness because they didn't do what I wanted them to. So I really think a good solid look at self, along with a solid look at Urable as a company and who they are, is definitely something that you should do. And that's my opinion. I respect this move, and I'm on board. I respect it so much and appreciate the thought, because I know they thought it out and they were like, we could do it this time, or this time, but January is the beginning of a new fiscal year. It's the beginning of new numbers. It's the beginning of new documentation. I run numbers at the end of every year in the last quarter. Imagine having to do this if we switched to November. That would be annoying. I've given you 5 months to prepare for this. I think that's pretty solid, and I appreciate it, and I support this move. I support the move to lower credit card transaction fees. And I also support the move to keeping the transaction fees within house. Because if the business shows that it's profitable, especially for the new investors are more likely to throw money at the business. So I think overall, this is a phenomenal business move for all of us. And I think we all need to pause and really think things through before we start knee-jerk reacting to things. And we need to move forward in kindness, always. Attacking somebody never turns out well. And it's most of the time the attacker, online at least, that ends up looking like the fool. So that's my opinion. Thanks for watching my TED Talk. I love Urable, I love the family, and I support this move. See y'all later.